Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. Got a good friend of mine, George Humphrey, in the shop today. And George and I have jammed together at different jams around town, and I've worked on a number of his instruments over the years. And he's brought in a new instrument. This one is called a Tanglewood Guitar Company is what it says. Got a big T up there. And I asked him, I said, how do you play this without poking your eyes out? He didn't cut all the wires off yet, but that's all right, we'll get to it. We need a good setup on this. The bridge is, the saddle is really leaning forward badly, and you've heard me say that when that happens, you're going to break your bridge, because it acts like a lever, and when it pulls down like that, it'll just crack your bridge right across there. So we're going to fix that. And we're going to get to it right after this. Okay, so let's turn the camera down here and I'll show you what we're going to do. So first thing I'm going to do is just cut off the extra wire, because I don't want to poke my eye out. Ironically, just a moment ago, I picked up my glasses. They have magnets in them, and guess what was stuck to my glasses when I put them on my face? There was a single-edged razor blade stuck right there, and I put them on my face, and I could feel it cutting my nose. It's always something around here. Let's get to the business. First thing we're going to do is look at this end down here, because I know this ain't right. We may have to make a new saddle. I don't know what we're going to do. But we'll just loosen the strings up a bit. And we'll just pull the pins. Also, my friends, I've noticed these keys are really loose. They're flopping. So these screws on the ends need to be tightened up. So we're going to get to that too here in just a minute. These are really tight for some reason. So he's got several shims underneath here. It looks like they're wire tie zip straps or whatever you call it. And we're going to take that out because we don't use that stuff. We'll make it work without that. Because this is shallow, when you build that up, then that lets this lean forward a lot, you know. Probably what we're going to do first is tighten up these tuning keys. Then we're going to probably restring it, believe it or not, and then unstring it yet again, because that's the only way you can get to all this to do it right. First thing we're going to do is tighten these up, because these are super loose. I mean like super loose. They're ready to fall off.
I'll put some new ones on there, I guess.
Yeah, these are fine, I think. They were just super loose. I have a feeling these will be okay once we tighten that up. Let me make sure these screws back here are okay. I think they're okay. Yeah, those are fine. Okay, so I think we're in pretty good shape on that part now. Now what I want to do is I'm going to string it back up. I'm at least string up 2 strings, and that way I can get an idea how high we are on our action. Because until I know that, I don't really know much anything. While I'm at it, I'm just going to take the extra step of tapering these pegs. So I'm going to do that first. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go over to the sander and I'm going to sand a little taper in the end of these pegs. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. Okay, so I beveled all of the pins like that, and the reason I do that is that button that's on the end of the string cannot set on there anymore. This lets it slide past the button, and then you don't have that problem of it popping your pins out. Well, we obviously do have a real problem. The neck angle is going to be way off on this, I have a feeling. Well, actually it isn't. I'm surprised. I don't know why that would be like that. this neck angle appears to be fairly good. I mean, I look down at level to this, the neck angle is dropping down like it ought to. So I don't know why exactly we have no clearance, but we have 0 clearance. These strings are sitting right on the frets. You know what I think it is? I have a feeling, I'm just guessing right now, but I have a feeling this truss rod may be really, really tight, and that's overbowing the neck. That's what I'm thinking, because the neck actually has a real steep bow to it. It goes down like that. It's not just an angle down, it's a bow down, and that bow is pulling the strings right around that bow and making them tight to the neck. So I have a feeling this is going to be really tight, but that's just a guess. I don't even know for sure. We're going to explore that theory right now. All right, so I found an Allen wrench that fits it. I'm going to test my theory and see if this is tight. I have a feeling it's tight, but I don't know that for sure. Well, it's pretty snug. I'm going to back it off some. There, it went loose right there. Yep, I can pull a little bit bow in it now. Okay, I'm gonna retighten these strings and see if that improved anything, because it definitely loosened up. Those were laying right on the fretboard before, because there was an overbowing arch in this fretboard. You know, I like to see a fretboard pretty flat, almost perfectly flat. In fact, if you can see the underbow in it, you probably have too much. You want a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of underbow, which everyone calls relief. I don't know why they call it relief, because it don't relieve nothing. It's just an underbow, and that's what it really is. The point is that you want a perfectly flat fretboard or a slight, and I mean very, very, very slight underbow. So slight that you can barely even detect that it's there. The experts will tell you that you want that at like 10,000ths of an inch, and how many people know how to do that? I do, but very few people know how to figure that. So my point is, just look down it, see if it's perfectly flat. If it's perfectly flat, you're probably good to go. This one is pretty darn flat now, so that's pretty good. It looks like it might have a slight underbow. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and tune it up, because that may have fixed the problem, and I don't want to go extremes here if I don't have to. So let me tune it up and see how it is, and then we'll see where we need to go from there. I'll tune it up off camera. Well, my friends, I got her tuned up, and there's no more buzzing. That thing, it was definitely, the truss rod was way over tightened. I've said many hundreds of times on video that the truss rod is the single most abused thing on an instrument. Almost nobody really knows how to adjust one, and everybody thinks you use it to adjust your action, when in effect it's really not for adjusting action at all. It does affect your action by what you do to it, but it's not for adjusting action. Your truss rod is there just to get you a flat neck or slightly underbowed neck. That's what the truss rod's for. It's not to adjust your action, your string height up and down. And lots of people still believe that that's what it's for, but it is definitely not for that purpose. The way you adjust your string height is via your saddle or via your nut. And that's what we're going to check right now, because it does seem to play just fine right now. I've played it off camera. We'll play it for you here in a second, but before we do that, I wanted to check the string height here. Now, I'm looking for about 90,000ths approximately, give or take, on the bass, and I'm looking for about 80,000ths on the treble, give or take. So let's see where we're at. I have a feeling we're a little high. Yeah, we're at about 115. Believe it or not, we were so low that the strings were rubbing the neck, and now we're high. Can you believe it? So we're at about 115. 115. No, I take it back. I'm reading my numbers wrong here. We're at 105. We're at 105. It's been a while. I've been retired, you know. I haven't been doing this. We're at 105 thousandths, so we want to get to 90. So we're about 15 thousandths high, which is not terrible. It's just a little high. And let's see, on this side, we want to be about 80. And man, we're right on the money on this side. This side's perfect. This side's a little bit high. So see, if you were to now adjust your truss rod, you would be adjusting all your strings. And we only want to adjust the base side. So what I'm going to do, because we're 15 thousandths high, that means if I take 30 thousandths off of this side, we'll drop it down 15 thousandths right here, because this is the halfway point. So we're going to take 30 thousandths down to nothing on this saddle right here. So let me show you how we do that. I'll just go ahead and loosen the strings and take these out, and then I'll show you the next step. I'm taking out a few of these strings here, and these pins, especially this base pin, is super tight. And I can't reach in there like I normally do. I usually reach in there and run this in till I can feel it on the bottom. But I'm going to run this in just a little bit because this pin is super tight. You can't hardly get it out. I'm going to call that good enough because I can't really tell. All right, I'm going to pull the saddle out from under there. And I told you we need to take 30 thousandths off of this side down to nothing. And let me show you how we can do that. Okay, in order to do 30 thousandths down to nothing, what we do is we make a black mark on here like this, just right at the bottom edge. Really, it only matters at this end. You don't really have to make the mark go across. And then what you do is you find 30 thousandths on a set of calipers like this and open it up to 30 thousandths, which ain't very much. People think it's a lot, but it's really not very much at all. That's why it's so hard to do this. If you don't have the right tools, you can't hardly do this. So that's only 30 thousandths right there, and you can see that's pretty tiny. So then you just take this and you scribe it right here like this, and you'll see that it makes a white mark there at 30 thousandths. Can you see the white mark? Now I'm just going to go over to the sander and I'm going to watch very carefully, and I'm going to hold this away from the sander a little bit where this side's touching, and then we'll slide it in until both sides touch when this mark hits. So this will just touch the sander when this mark hits, and then we're done. That's how I do it. So you can see here, there's just a hint of that line left, and we've got it flat across there. So we're gonna put it back in, and we should be good to go now. That takes the guesswork out of it. It should be exactly right now. So let me string it back up, and I'll show you the result. Okay, my friends, I've got her tuned back up. Let's double check the action here. I have not checked it yet, so here we go. It ought to be right on the money at 90 thousandths. Well, I'll be honest, it's about 92 thousandths, but 2 thousandths of an inch is thinner than a human hair. So that's plenty good. That's really good. Let's play it for you. So it turns out in this case, the only problem this thing really had was a too tight truss rod. And this saddle I thought was plastic. As I was sanding it, it's for sure bone. He could even smell it. He knew it was bone. You can always smell bone when you start sanding it. Plays fine. It's really, the action's very good. I look down the neck. It does have a tiny bit of underbow on it, but that should be fine. You know, the relief that you want to call it. People get on me because I don't refer to it as relief, because to me that's not what it really is. I don't care what the trendy words are. I care how it functions. And it won't function properly if there's an overbow, but it will function properly if there's a slight underbow. Well, I hope you learned something from this, that you learned that the truss rod is the absolute 100% most abused part of any guitar on any planet, anywhere. How do I know that? 40 years experience has told me that. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video.